Alright guys, welcome back, and good news, the Ennio's War issues have finally been fixed. I haven't gone through every single detail yet because there might still be bugs or even new ones introduced, but the damage difference is already immediately noticeable, so it's safe to assume that at least some parts of it have already been fixed. Oops, sorry guys, I'm just adding this part because while testing and editing my video, I did confirm that the A5 is still bugged. I'm gonna show it to you at the end of the video, but I already finished editing this one, so I won't change it anymore. Just expect that whatever results you see here will be affected if ever this A5 gets fixed, and Ennio's Roar users is expected to have more damage output. I'll just show you the details later. So yeah, I went ahead and ran some tests for dungeon fights, and in this video I'll share my thoughts and review on these new weapons, compare their performance based on my tests and experience, and rank the best pairings and go over their pros and cons. But before we start, just a quick reminder to support me in the SLA Content Creator Program. I send out codes daily. We still have the Essence Stone codes, plus we have an upcoming code with 500k gold and weapon enhancement materials. Once again, thank you so much. Let's begin. So let's start with a quick summary of my 3-minute training room tests. I won't include them in this video anymore, but I'll upload them in a separate unlisted video. Put the link in the description just in case you're curious to see the full runs. All setups and stats were kept identical and only the weapons were swapped. And the crit rate, I capped it at around 25% to simulate high-level dungeon condition. Here's the result. Ennio plus Radiru around 26.5 billion damage. Ennio plus Fire Fan slightly lower at 24 billion. Now keep in mind the fan setup breaks faster, so that could matter in real fights, but purely in terms of raw damage they're pretty close, okay? Surprisingly though, the double support Radiru plus Fan came out on top at almost 32 billion, while Fan plus Bow trailed behind at around 21.5 billion, which is the lowest. It's hard to be perfectly objective here, so I'll just share my honest insights based on combat testing in Proof of the Strong level 20 as well as the training room, of course. So let's start with the old setup, which is the Fan plus Bow, and honestly I don't think this pairing holds up anymore under any circumstance, or at least most of the time, because number one, the damage is already lagging behind, both in the training room and Proof of the Strong level 20. And it's not just about the numbers, there's also an issue when it comes to the rotation and gameplay itself, because the bow's damage release is just too slow. You have to cast the bow, use the Sonic Stream, then go for the double core, plus all the dashing and basic attacks in between, and because of that, it's prone to mistakes and it's hard to fit everything inside the Fan's debuff window, especially the Fire QTE, which is a very high fire damage skill. So yeah, this combo I think when compared to the new weapons probably would not recommend it anymore. Now the next one I tried is the double support one with the Radiru plus Fan, which honestly feels amazing to use because the damage is great, the release and the combos are fast, and it's very smooth overall. You've got the Fan's time stop and the Radiru Spear's quick release, so everything fits neatly together. It also has double break, which makes it really strong in break heavy dungeons. I think there's no real downside here except one. This build will only shine if your skills are already high rarity, ideally mythic rarity, because otherwise the weapons won't have much to buff. So you'll need your damage skills like Dagger Toss, Firestorm Kick, and Surge at a solid rarity to really see the results when using this kind of setup. As for the spear and the sword, this combo has a strong burst, and what I like about it is that it actually naturally works well with the Surge, since the sword is also a knockdown skill, which makes it a very smooth 1-2 combo. And for my test, it still performs lower than the double support combo, but that does not mean it's bad. It's just different because this weapon has penetration percent, which could be very useful against high defense enemies like Giant Statue and Facna. So in training room or normal dungeons, you might not fully appreciate what it brings yet. But since this weapon itself is a damage weapon, it gives you more flexibility in the skills you want to run. And if your skills are not that good yet, you'll definitely feel its damage more, especially like if you don't have the Firestorm Kick at mythic rarity. Now there's also one more thing that could make this combo interesting, since the weapon already provides 16% defense penetration, and we know that penetration scales harder the higher it gets. There's potential synergy here for arm set users, and pairing it with support units that also provide penetration like Isil, Gina, and Yusu Hyun. So this setup might actually find a solid niche in certain dungeons, but that's just one of the possibilities I'm currently looking into. I still need to test it more in Guild Boss to see if it can replace Night Killer and also in Power of Destruction, so stay tuned for that. So here's how I would personally rank them right now, specifically for dungeon use, okay? I like the double support one best. I think it's the best overall for dungeons. The rotation is smooth, it breaks fast because the two weapons have breaks, and it has high burst potential if your skills are strong. For the sword and the spear, I think it's going to be a great pairing for high def bosses or if your skills are not that high yet. For defend plus bow, I think it still has a unique value as a fire team buffer with the 18% fire damage, or maybe for future content if we ever get enemies immune to burn, since Ennio's Roar relies on the burn mechanics for its damage. If you want to check out the full 3-minute training room test, the link is in the description. Go ahead and watch it if you want to see the full rotation. So here we are in the recording, and what I'm gonna do is to first check the damage of both weapons. So this is the Ennio's Roar, around 6 million damage, and then somewhere right here I restart the score, and then I'm gonna use the Radiru Spear. There we go, 411k initial damage and 60k per hit. All right, so what I did here is to add this finisher touch blessing stone, which is supposed to increase the damage of your weapon by 75%, and in team fight it's going to be additional 35%, but this is 75%, so this should be easily noticeable once we use it. For same element weapon, we went back in, and then we're going to test the damage again. So the previous damage of the Ennio's Roar is about 6 million, and look at this, 5987018. Okay, so nothing changed when we used the finisher's touch. And a restart here. Then spear, 410k initial, still 60k damage per tick. So that's one problem. Apparently, the new weapons are not getting considered as weapon skills. And to support that, let me show you another test that I did. Alright, so here we're gonna test the burn effect of the A5, because it says here when the target has the burn effect, whenever you cast your weapon skill, you should have 2.5 seconds with 50% increase on your fire weapon skills. Okay, so what I did here is to change my weapon to a level 1 Phoenix bow just for testing. And so firstly, let's check the default damage without anything applied. That's 4.08 million damage. Okay, 408. So what we're gonna do next is to apply the burn, and let's see if there will be an increase. Okay, so burn using the dagger toss, and then we're gonna use the Ennio's Roar. So 4.518. So it increased. Okay, it increased. But here's the thing. So what I'm gonna do next is to first apply the burn, and then I'm gonna press the Phoenix bow and cancel it immediately, just so we can proc that weapon skill 2.5 seconds bonus. Okay, so look, bow and then dash, 17 seconds cooldown, and then I'm gonna use the Ennio's Roar immediately. There, 5.173 from 4.5 million damage. So it's still increased. So that is one proof that the Ennio's Roar is not getting considered as a weapon skill use, including the Radiru Spear. So here's another thing, which is the more problematic one. So what I'm gonna do instead is to just use the bow, cancel it immediately, just so that we can proc that 2.5 seconds, which is supposed to give us 50% fire weapon skill damage. But what's happening instead is that it actually also increases the basic skills. So my dagger toss default damage is 299, 298, so somewhere around close to 300k, right? So let's check the damage with the Phoenix bow proc. Here, right? So Phoenix bow, then I'm gonna dash to cancel it so that we will have enough time to cast the dagger toss. Bam. 500 97k damage. Actually, that is actually not 50% weapon skills. That's almost double the damage, right? So that's plus 100%. Why? Actually, it's my first time. I thought it was just increasing like 50% because our previous one was 299k only, right? There. Oh no. This is bad. Devs, this is really bad. So what's happening is that the old weapons, and that includes the fire fan, if you use it, you will get that increased skill damage even on dagger toss. And the damage is not just 50% increase, apparently. It doubled the damage. So that's 100%. Holy fuck. So yeah, I do hope that you guys would fix that, because your weapon is gonna be dead, like dead on arrival. No one's gonna use this if this cannot proc the basic skills, and even the Ennio's roar, no one's gonna use this as well because it's underwhelming right now based on my previous test. But guys, if they manage to fix this, and if they if they add the same effect that increases the basic skill, so what's gonna happen then is that you can use the spear, proc it, use the dagger toss, and then use this one, and possibly maybe use another skill to proc the bonus skill damage, kinda. So I don't know. They just have to fix this. They definitely cannot nerf that effect, that unintended bug on this one, which gave 100% instead of just 50%. That's crazy. That's really crazy. Okay, so yeah, just a follow-up, just to kind of show it to them. Let's just try another one with the Vulcan's Rage, and so that I can show them that the weapon skill damage is actually working on the old weapons. So the damage of the Vulcan's Rage is around 45k each hit, and then if I apply the burn, should be around 68k. So that one is pretty accurate, but the problem is the dagger toss. Let me just check that again. 298k per hit, still to 298k per hit. And then I'm gonna use the Vulcan's Rage and cancel it immediately. Bam. 444k. That's crazy. Why is it that the bow is dealing more damage than the fucking Vulcan's Rage? So let me just check this again. Okay. So still 298k per hit. Then bow cancel. 440k. What happened there? Yeah, but anyway, that's still the big problem. So yeah, devs, please do fix this. And to those of you guys who watched this until this point, thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one. Please do help me out in reporting this as well.